Hello and welcome to Personal Budget Template. My name is Jeff, I'm glad you're here. Let's just jump right in. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get, use, and modify a really cool budget template. Let's start with the first exercise. Exercise 1. Right from within Excel, go to File, New. And this is where you can access tons of free templates. Here I'm going to search for Annual Budget. Now I'm going to pick this simple annual budget, but there's many others to choose from, so feel free to explore. Now I'm going to click Create. And just like that, we have this template loaded in Excel. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit so it's easier to see. There we go. The basic overview here is we have a summary, a balance, a little visual, and then we'd budget our income, and then we'd budget our expenses, and then we have some other summary charts below. So let's go to some basic usage. Exercise 2. Let's start with income. First, we'd define our basic income sources, and then we'd enter the expected values for each month. If it's going to be the same each month, what we can do is fill these values to the right. And we got some funky formatting here. This just means this column is too narrow, so I'm just going to click and drag to expand that column width. There we go. And if we expect a pay raise at some point, we can type in a new value and then just fill that value to the right as well, and everything updates. Now, if we don't love this formatting, it's easy to change. We can select this range, change the format to number, display the comma, reduce the decimals. And here, this column is too narrow again, so again, we can just expand it. Let's scroll down to expenses. Here, we can change these categories as needed, and if we spec these values to be about the same, we can click and drag. We can, of course, change any month values that we want. And once again, we're going to update this formatting. I'm going to change it to a number, add the comma, reduce the decimals. That looks fine. What if we needed to add more categories? No worries. This was created with a table, so it's easy to add. Let me narrow this column a little bit. Let's create some more space first. I'm going to select this chart, hold Shift, and select this other chart. And I'm just going to use the down arrow on my keyboard to move those down a little bit. Great. Now I can hover over the lower right corner of this table and just click and drag, and this will extend this down and give us more room for more categories. And since this is trying to divide by 0, we get these errors, but as soon as we enter some values, those errors will go away. Here, I don't need any more categories, so I'm just going to undo all of this. And we would do the same thing if we need more rows in our income table. Now let's scroll down and look at these charts. The first thing I notice is that this chart only goes through November. No worries, it's easy to add December. We select the chart, we go to Chart Design, and select Data. And as we can see, we only have labels through November. So we can click Edit, and then we can just select this range to include December, and click OK. And now we need to do the same thing with these values. So I select Income, click Edit, and I'm just going to reselect this range and click OK. Now we do the same thing for expenses, Edit, select the series values, and extend my selection, and click OK. Then click OK. Let's scroll down, and sure enough, we have December. Now the other thing to be aware of is that we can select the chart, and we can click this plus button to turn on or off or define chart elements. For example, if I don't want the data labels, I can remove them. If I do want them, I can show them. Either way is fine. I can turn on or off grid lines, and I could turn on or off the legend. So depending on what your display preferences are, feel free to check out these chart elements, along with all of the design and format options in the ribbon. And let's look at total expenses. If we wanted to, we could easily change this chart type. Let's click Change Chart Type, and let's go with a bar chart, and click OK. This might be a little easier to read. Once again, we can click the plus, and it's easy to turn on or off any data labels or any other chart elements. And let's scroll back up. If we wanted to be able to do a filter or sort on the expenses, which impacts the chart, we can select any cell in this table, go to Table Design, and check the Filter button checkbox. Now we have basic filter controls, and this makes it easy to sort or filter this expenses table. For example, let's sort it by the total. And let's scroll down, and we can see the impact to the chart. We can also sort it descending, and here we can see the impact to the chart. And you'll notice this sort order kind of feels like it's the opposite order. We can select the chart and go to Format Selection. we can use this drop down to go to vertical category axis. We can click Axis Options, expand this, and check Categories in Reverse Order. And we'll close this. And that just feels like this sort order is consistent with whatever sort order we place here if we're sorting by total amount. And if we wanted to get back to alphabetical, we could simply sort by the item name, and that's fine too. And with that, it's time to go to our next exercise, exercise 3. Now, it would be nice to track our balance, that is our cash balance. So let me insert a couple of rows. And what we can say is cash at beginning of month and cash at end of month. And actually, let me zoom in so this is a little easier to see. Okay, now what we want to be able to do is type in how much cash we have in the bank before heading into January. So let's call it $1,000. And the cash at the end of the month is going to be equal to the cash at the beginning plus our January income minus our January expenses. Enter. And our February balance is equal to this. Enter. And what we can do is we can simply click and drag to fill this to the right. And we can also click and drag to fill this to the right. And I'm going to update this formatting. I'm going to go to Home. I'm going to change this to number, add a comma, no decimals. And then I'm going to take out this right align, which is just going to go with the default alignment, which is exactly what I want. Now the other thing is at the end of the year, we have 19,888. And our default formula just needs to be updated to reflect our cash at the beginning. So what we can do is edit this and say plus this 1,000, enter. And now everything agrees. Cool? All right, cool. And that's how we can get, use, and modify this basic annual budget template. Hopefully this has been helpful. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Hey Excel user, if you ever need to create summary reports, check out my Pivot Table for Beginners video. It starts at the beginning and shows how to store the data transactions in a table and then how to summarize those transactions with a pivot table report. I hope it helps unlock the incredible power of pivot tables.
This video is a production of Excel University.